Hello and welcome back. Today I thought I'd share with you another one of my adventures. This is the tale of the frozen antler. This is the kind of story that starts with snow in your fur and ends with something even colder in your bones. My name's Michael Moose, and I've been stomping across the northern tundra of Canada longer than most critters have been alive. I'm not much for talking, but when trouble knocks on the trees, someone's got to answer. I live on a ridge where the wind never stops howling and the sky is more cloud than sun. I like it that way. Quiet, predictable. Until one day, it wasn't. The birds were quiet, the wind felt wrong. And the snow? It settled like it was waiting for something. Snow's too still, I muttered to myself. The birds are too quiet, and where's the sun gone off to? It wasn't long before the quiet turned into chaos. Willow, the jittery Arctic hare, came tearing across the tundra, nearly ran into my front legs. Michael, something's wrong with the river. The ice-ate's glowing. I gave her a look. Glowing? I trotted over to the river's edge, dragging my hooves through the snow. Sure enough, the ice shimmered with a strange green light. It pulsed like a heartbeat. Rollo, the wolverine, showed up next, sniffing the air. "This isn't natural," he growled. "It's magic." Then came Clack, that annoying but useful magpie. He perched on my antler like he owned it. "Old forest magic," he said. "This only happens when the frozen antler wakes." I huffed. The frozen antler is a bedtime story. "Maybe you should have paid closer attention to your bedtime stories," Clack said. That night, I went to see the elder tree. Don't ask me how it works. You whisper to it, and if you're lucky, it whispers back. I stood there, wind slicing through my fur, and asked the tree what was going on. It didn't speak in words, exactly just filled me with a feeling. Danger, cold, shadows creeping across the land. Clack fluttered down beside me. "The frozen antler is real," he said. "Hidden deep in the frostbite caverns. It keeps winter in balance." "And someone wants to take it?" I asked. Clack nodded. "Derek." I nearly choked on my breath. "Derek the deer? That soft-hooved idiot?" "He's not so soft anymore. He's found dark magic. He wants to rule the North." I knew I couldn't face this alone. I called on the best I knew. Willow, fast and sneaky, good with plans. She once stole a whole basket of cloudberries from under a bear's nose. Clever, quick, and nervous, but she gets things done. Not many know this, but she grew up without a warren. Her family vanished in a snowstorm when she was still young. Since then, she's made her own way, always watching, always planning. She never talks about it, but I think that's why she moves so fast. She's scared if she stops. The storm will catch her, too. Rolotov is old bark. I once saw him wrestle an elk twice his size over a frozen fish. Didn't even break a sweat. He's not much for talking, but his claws speak loudly. He came from the Burntwood, a dark patch of forest that went up in flames when he was just a kit. Lost his whole den. He survived by fighting, by pushing back at the world before it could push him. Beneath all that growl and grit, though, there's a loyalty few can match. Clack loud, annoying, but smarter than most. He knows more about the old forest than anyone I've met, and though he talks too much, he's usually right. They say Clack used to belong to a shaman and old human who wandered the woods with him on her shoulder. He learned stories from her, legends, truths buried in the roots of trees. When she passed, Clack stayed behind, trading feathers for knowledge. We headed out for the frostbite caverns. Every step we took, the world got colder. The sky stayed dark too long. The snow whispered things I didn't want to hear. We crossed silver-needled pine thickets and ice plains where no tracks lasted more than a minute. We stopped at Glacier Hollow, where steam vents rose from the earth. That's where the ice wolves came, creatures of frost and fang, made from winter itself. Rollo leapt into action. Willow darted like a shadow. I lowered my antlers and charged. Even Clack got a few pecks in. We won but barely. My flank was cut, Rollo's fur matted with blood, and Willow trembled like a leaf in the wind. "We're just getting started," I muttered. chewing bitter snowgrass. This is nothing compared to what's coming. Days later, we were swallowed by an enchanted blizzard. The wind sang eerie songs, and the snow showed us visions of our fears. I saw my ridge, buried and broken. I saw Fern lost in the dark. Rollo saw fire. Willow saw herself alone. Clack wouldn't say what he saw. It took everything we had to push through. When the storm finally broke, we found ourselves at a canyon of stars. Stretching across it was a bridge made of frozen roots. And guarding that bridge? A being of light and frost, an ancient spirit called the Sentinel. To cross, you must answer 3 riddles, it said. We answered them barely. I got the last one right by accident. Clack has never let me live it down. Then, finally, we reached the chamber of the frozen antler. I expected Derek, but I didn't expect Fern. My sister, my little sister. Everyone thought she was gone lost in a storm years ago. But there she was, beside Derek. Her antlers frosted, her eyes sharp and cold. Fern? I whispered. She's with me now, Derek said. She chose power. I didn't disappear, Fern said. I left. I saw a new path. My heart twisted. At what cost? She didn't answer. Derek began a dark spell. The cave cracked. Wind screamed. The frozen antler glowed sickly green. Strange runes lit the walls. I charged. Rollo lunged at Derek. Willow smashed glowing stones. Clack screeched and dove. And I faced Fern. You're my sister, I said. Help me stop this. Her eyes flickered. You still believe in the old ways? I believe in protecting what matters, even if it hurts. She hesitated. Then, just when I thought I'd lost her, she turned, slammed her hooves into the frozen antler. The spell shattered. There was a blinding flash. The cave fell silent. Derek stumbled, his magic gone. He ran tail tucked, slipping and scrambling away. Fern stayed. I don't know who I am anymore, she said. You're my sister, I said. That's a start. We fixed the frozen antler as best we could, carved old runes, laid food offerings, whispered thanks to the elder tree. We didn't just patch up magic, we made a promise to protect this land and everything that calls it home. Rollo grunted something kind. Willow smiled, really smiled, the kind that comes from a weight lifted. Clack, naturally, tried to claim he did most of the work. Said the antler glowed better when he flapped near it. We journeyed home slower this time. Fern was quiet. She and Willow spoke often, sharing stories about the paths they'd taken. Rollo didn't trust her not yet. But he didn't growl as much, and when Fern stumbled crossing an icy ridge, he offered a paw. That spring came early. The river flowed with melted pride. The birds returned in full chorus. The sun lingered longer, like it too had chosen to stay. Back on my ridge, I watched the thaw, watched the wind calm, the sky clear, watched Fern as she stared across the tundra like she was seeing it for the first time. Do you think he'll come back? She asked. Derek? I grunted. Maybe. Darkness doesn't vanish. It waits, learns. And when it does? I looked at her, then at the land we both loved. Then we face it, together. Clack landed on my antler. You know, he said, there'll be other threats. I know, I said. Let them come, because this is my tundra. And I'm Michael Moose the Grump, the Guardian, and now, the Storyteller. The end. I hope you enjoyed listening to this story. Share your favorite part down below, and as always, I hope to see you again soon.